As an ordinary person in China, no matter what industry you're in, it's difficult to earn money. Despite studying and working hard, many still face immense pressure from mortgage and car loan payments. But why is it that some Chinese people find it so easy to make money? Hello everyone, I am Mr. Tree, who opposes the Communist Party. When it comes to this topic, we will analyze the core reasons for this issue from 4 aspects. High taxes, corruption and bribery, monopoly of state-owned enterprises, high housing prices. First, let's start with taxes. The Chinese government collects approximately 18 trillion yuan in tax revenue each year, averaging about 12,800 yuan per person annually. Besides the personal income tax deducted from salaries, every time a Chinese person makes a purchase, they are subject to various taxes and fees, including value-added tax, urban maintenance and construction tax, education surcharge tax, local education surcharge tax, import tariffs, consumption tax, corporate income tax, business tax, operating property tax, and more. To make Chinese citizens less aware of the existence of taxes, reduce the pain of taxation, and weaken their awareness as taxpayers, the prices of goods purchased in the Chinese market are all after-tax prices. For example, a bottle of imported white wine with a retail price of 678 yuan, totaling 393.24 yuan in taxes, accounting for 58% of the retail price. Let's take the example of a 25% corporate income tax. If your company made a hard-earned 1 million yuan this year, you would need to hand over 250,000 yuan to the local tax bureau as your company's corporate income tax for the year. This means that if you're doing business on my turf, you have to give me a quarter of your earnings. Tax revenue accounts for approximately 90% of China's national government revenue. Ideally, the government should allocate these funds for various purposes such as education, defense, healthcare, infrastructure development, and civil servant salaries and benefits. Although high taxes in China reduce the actual income and increase the living costs of ordinary people, if these tax revenues are used correctly to improve the living conditions, medical standards, and welfare of domestic citizens, it would be a positive thing. However, China's tax rates are among the highest in the world, yet the welfare of its citizens ranks among the lowest. The difficulty in making money partly stems from high taxes, which increase your cost of living. Additionally, ordinary Chinese people do not receive the social benefits expected from high taxation. On the other hand, the misuse of fiscal funds, the severe opacity and unfairness in the use of fiscal funds, and issues of corruption and bribery also make it harder for Chinese people to earn money. The issue of corruption and bribery is frequently exposed in China, and when people see such news, they may applaud, feeling that there is hope for the country once again. But upon closer examination, one might wonder why these officials, who have been embezzling funds for decades with such large amounts, are only being caught now. What have our disciplinary committees been doing all this time? Furthermore, how have the corruption and bribery of these officials led to other social problems? What interests of the common people have been adversely affected? Birds of a feather flock together, so anti-corruption efforts may be false, while internal struggles are true. By eliminating those who harm their own interests, officials can both stabilize their own interests and gain the confidence of the people. It's a win-win situation.
The income composition of Chinese civil servants includes basic salary, allowances, bonuses, subsidies, and more. If they only consider these incomes, the standard of living for civil servants would only reach a moderate level. However, the majority of illegal income for corrupt officials comes from the authority to use fiscal funds and administrative approval rights. Each Chinese government department can apply for the next year's fiscal budget from the treasury at the end of the year. This budget is used for projects corresponding to the department's functions, such as road reconstruction and construction projects. After receiving the fiscal funds for the next year, government departments can openly invite bids to use this money. Each government department spends tens of millions or even billions of yuan each year, which presents a huge temptation for all ordinary civil servants within the department. Although the bidding process is open, leaders have various means to ensure that the winning bid goes to their friends, relatives, or acquaintances. Each leader also has their regular bidding companies, construction companies, supervision companies, expert judges, etc., making it seamless in terms of compliance. This leads to a peculiar phenomenon. When a unit changes its leadership, there's often a turnover of the companies involved in subsequent projects. Similarly, when a leader is transferred to another place, a group of companies follows the leader to the new location to carry out work. Administrative approval rights are similar, as there is significant room for manipulation in determining whether a project is allowed and who will undertake it. The amount of kickbacks a project leader can receive depends on various factors. Generally, leaders can receive cash kickbacks ranging from 15% to 60% from construction companies. This is why some companies thrive with leader support, while others, despite their high level of competence, ultimately declare bankruptcy due to the lack of favoritism from leaders. The bosses of companies awarded projects need to allocate the remaining funds for project construction. Apart from using inferior materials, the budget for labor is also reduced accordingly, leading to individuals having to do the work of several people and serious overtime. This, in turn, leads to fewer employment opportunities in society, with highly educated individuals resorting to delivering food and elite returnees taking up internships. It also leads to various means of making money, such as frequent road construction and digging in cities. The various rights that are not subject to media or public oversight have created the peculiar phenomenon of bureaucracy in China. Chinese officials are often surrounded by a variety of obsequious individuals, entrepreneurs seeking projects, officials aiming for promotions, and mistresses seeking material comforts. In reality, most of their income cannot withstand scrutiny. This is also why the annual civil service examinations are extremely popular, because being an official in China can be quite enjoyable. However, this bureaucratic environment is not conducive to the cultivation of talent and technical skills. Many top talents who stay abroad are merely ordinary individuals back in China, unable to properly offer toasts, lacking in gift-giving skills, or lacking in the ability to maneuver through social circles. This is also the fundamental reason why China faces obstacles in the development of many scientific and technological fields. Let's delve further into the issue of state-owned enterprise monopolies. Most students who fail to secure positions as civil servants often consider state-owned enterprises and central enterprises as alternative options. SOEs represent enterprises owned by the state, while CEs are essentially enterprises owned by the Central Committee of the Communist Party. These enterprises have effectively become a form of hereditary system, making it extremely difficult for ordinary individuals to enter them. SOEs and CEs monopolize essential industries such as oil, electricity, finance, railways, salt, tobacco, telecommunications, and commodities, under the pretext of safeguarding people's livelihoods. In reality, they serve as places where privileged individuals arrange positions for their relatives, friends, and mistresses. While enjoying easy work, they also receive high salaries. The extravagant lifestyles of this group of individuals are funded by the basic living expenses of the 1.4 billion people in the country. Finally, let's discuss the issue of housing prices in China. The core reason for high housing prices in China is high land prices, which on average account for about 68% of the property's selling price. Why are land prices high? It's because local governments can no longer support their various money-making projects with their own finances. They resort to selling land to replenish their coffers, harvesting the wealth of the common people once again. This revenue is then used for various projects, both useful and useless, and often ends up being transferred as personal wealth in the form of kickbacks. Ordinary people, for reasons such as marriage, childbirth, and education for their descendants, are forced to deplete a lifetime of savings from two families to buy a house. They also bear the burden of mortgages that often exceed the value of the property, all to support those well-fed officials and their mistresses. If you agree with my views, feel free to repost and spread them to China under the condition of ensuring safety. Follow me, and let's work together to build a democratic and free China.